As we head closer to the midpoint of the season, drivers have come and gone from the top of the standings, but some favorites have started to emerge. As Travis Beckner looks to make it 4 in a row, does anyone have what it takes to put a stop to his dominant performance? We find ourselves here tonight at a small track in rural Pennsylvania, opening in 1953. This track has provided big action over the years and is sure to be a thrill tonight for round 10 of the VDRA Late Model Series, the Gettysburg 50 at Lincoln Speedway. My name is Finney Ducone here with Connor Horn. Connor, as always, glad to have you back with me in the booth for this fantastic race. We've seen some fantastic racing over the last couple of weeks. You've been joining me, and it is getting very close at the top of the standings. Well, mainly at the racing, because the timesheet's looking in practice, it's very close.
Very close, I think. We're kind of back to not having that long of straightaways, maybe, for the most part. We have some pretty tight corners here compared to what we had last week. I think this should be pretty fun. We'll see what these drivers can do. We'll see if that group moves up at this Gettysburg 50 in Lincoln once again, as I take that back. Straightaways are pretty long, not too similar to what we had last week, because I think the corners are going to be a touch tighter. Track temp is down. Air temp's kind of middle of the pack. I don't see how wind will play much of a factor, but this should be a pretty fun race for sure. We've seen some great racing at the front. We see some wins from Travis Beckner. He's been getting on the board. Tyler Gary not running the past few weeks has let Beckner go 3 in a row after Clayton Johnson won Lima Land. But now we're here at Gettysburg, the Gettysburg 50. So we'll see if Beckner can make it 4 in a row.
Yeah, we'll see if he can make it 4 in a row. That would tie him with Tyler Gary's record at the top of the standings earlier this year, and he's just shy of doing so. That being said, we have a new driver joining us here for tonight, Jacob Cannon, who's a new driver for this series, and if his practice times are anything to go off of, he's looking like he might be a chance to put Travis Beckner in his place, potentially keeping him from getting that 4th win of the season, 4th win in the row as well.
What is Travis Beckner's place? Right now, it's at the top of the leaderboard. Even when Tyler Gary was racing, he was still at the top of the leaderboard, just maybe second for a lot of the time. But it's been hard to push Travis Beckner out of the top 2 all season long. Really, the few times he hasn't finished top 2 was his own doing, getting in a crash or getting, beat around by Dalton Kane a few weeks back when Kane got suspended. It's been really only that type of stuff that's kept Beckner from running first or second. I don't expect tonight to be any different for the most part.
Yeah, don't expect it to be any different for him as you look at Travis Beckner working his way around the track, already immediately out on the track, getting a time down, one of the first 2 drivers to get a time down on the 27 machine, setting the mark to beat for everyone else on the track as he gets going across the line, completing lap number 2, qualifying complete, and the bar is set at 15.119.
He didn't like it, that's for sure.
And we'll see, probably doesn't feel it's fast enough. There's a couple other drivers getting out there.
I don't know if the Chick-fil-A's helping him or hurting him, but he's got the Chick-fil-A cup. As he's gonna, he's blocking it, so no good market placement there. Product placement, as we do have the camera on Jacob Cannon making his series and season debut at a number 93 coming out of the pit lane, as he will see what he can do for his first 2 laps. I thought I saw Beckner run 1 and 2 up high, then he brought it right next to the guardrail in 3 and 4. Cannon, notably first lap, he's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack as well, so he's not going to build that run, maybe gearing up for lap 2. But we'll see what he can do here.
We'll definitely see what he can do. Definitely a driver I want to keep an eye on. I was watching in an earlier practice session him and Travis Beckner go side by side for nearly 10 laps. That's why I've kind of been hyping him up here. I'm kind of hoping he lives up to the height here. We'll see as he comes across the line, 15.050. That's immediately going to put him up on pole.
Yeah, that was a pretty darn good lap already, as he's flexing his muscle pretty early. He's keeping it pretty well around the bottom of the racetrack. He's not really drifting up too much. He goes a little slower lap number 2. Even Jaden Freiberger put a good time down. He went up to 2nd on the leaderboard, so Beckner on pole for at least a 3rd heat as Dalton Kane trying to experiment with the higher line there in 1 and 2. Brings it back a little lower in 3 and 4. Not that close to the guardrail, but definitely the lower line, as we'll see what he can do in 3 and 4 this time. I got my ends mixed up, but kind of running a middle line, the 7 is. He went 15.036, so close to pole, but not quite.
So close, 0.003 of a second off of Cannon's time. So close, yet so far it will not be pole for the number 7, but will be starting very high up the order. And as he comes across the line, I was just about to say, oh, wait, he just came by for a second lap. I thought he was done. He came by and put another lap down and will take it by 20 thousandths of a second. Very close margins here.
at really close margins, and that puts Beckner probably in a situation where I don't think we're going to have 3 heats, so probably not on pole for a heat, which is kind of rare for him for the most part, at least what it feels like to me, but we'll see what he can do. This should be a pretty fun one from what we're seeing on the leaderboard already. I think I saw Jacob Bell crash on his first lap. We'll see if he can get a run out of the corner to get a fast second lap going. Where Senesak's just doing practice, so Jacob Bell is really the only driver trying to put a time down here. So he's going to try to run that outside line, but didn't seem like he could really get out of the corner with speed.
Yeah, it didn't quite look like it. He comes flying back around one more time for the 77, built up some speed. We'll see if this final lap will be any good for him. Up to 13th at the moment, and I think that'll be it for the 77.
That's it for him. Everyone else is done with qualifying, just waiting on Brad Slaughter Jr. see if he puts a time down.
Is he in the server?
Which he's not in the server right now, so never mind. So everyone who's in the server has put a time down, from Dalton Kane down to Joseph Swan, but top of the board, you got really the top 4 separated by a 1/10 of a second. You still got Casey Borgmeyer, Jordan Navarro. Good lap for Navarro. You got those guys right on top of each other.
Yeah, a couple drivers sneaking in there, very quick laps. I mean, we talked about Borgmeyer and Navarro kind of slotting themselves in past the really fast guys that we've seen all season long, like Freiberger, like Beckner, and Dalton Kane. Looking down the order, Ryan Swan's about Jordan Martin a little bit lower than he probably would like in 9th. Carter Coop rounding out the top 10, then moving on to the rest of the field. Ed Robertson, Lakatos up in 12th. Bell up to 13th, Hughes, Seidenfeiden, Senesak, Punkari, DeBauer, and Joseph Swan. Now, Swan didn't look like he got a good lap at all. It was 1.7 seconds off, so I think that's probably not truly indicative of his pace that he's got here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what he has this week for sure. Just looked like he was trying to fire it into the corners for the most part, from what I could see, and just missing the entry. So get the entry owned down, and should have a decent heat here, as we do have 3 heats tonight. This should be pretty fun. See how the track develops, because already saw early on that top line wasn't really there, but we saw last week it kind of went up the track, then it came back down the track. Could see something similar.
Definitely could see something similar. We'll see what they got here as everyone's getting lined up for the heats ready to go. First of should be 3 heats tonight. And we'll take a look at the lineup here for heat number 1, starting on pole. Fastest lap set, Dalton Kane in the number 7 machine. Actually, this should be lined up to be a pretty good heat. Dalton Kane starting on pole for this one. Then Travis Beckner will be starting in 2nd place. That is a very solid front row. Back in 3rd, Ryan Swan will be lined up in the 20 machine. Next to him, Carter Coop in the 52. Then Jacob Bell will be lined up 5th in the 77. Bryce Senesak lined up in the 09 next to him. And rounding out our field of 7 will be Joseph Swan in the number 1 machine.
So 7 in this heat, and then I believe we'll have 6 in the other heats. So this is going to be the most stacked heat in more ways than one. I think this is going to be a pretty important heat for Dalton Kane or Travis Beckner, or even Ryan Swan or Carter Coop. Mainly those guys to try to get top of the board and start on the complete pole for this race. So this is going to be a very important 8-lap sprint to the finish, as we'll get our initial start in. It's the entrance to turn 3. I believe there's a wall on the outside where the opening begins, where that's where the restart zone will start. And with a corner like this, it's kind of be like last week, where you should see these drivers wait pretty long.
Gonna be waiting a little while to go, a little bit ways to go there. There's that opening in the wall you're talking about. They're past it, and there goes Dalton Kane with the jump, and away. We are green here for heat number 1.
See, I don't know dirt. I don't know what I'm talking about. He went almost as early as he could go, and he got a good jump doing it. You see, Beckner tried to get to the inside, but didn't get the run he needed. Bell and Senesak kind of had a skirmish there in the background, but they kept it clean.
Still got a skirmish going on in the background. Joseph Swan's already called it a race at the moment. Bryce Senesak ahead of Jacob Bell, but up ahead, Dalton Kane, Travis Beckner fight for first place. Beckner looking to the inside.
Kind of surprised Kane's giving him the bottom, with it probably being pretty fresh and runnable right now. I think not near the end of his heat, as Jacob Bell threw a big slide on Bryce Senesak for the 5th position. I think as this heat, that groove will move up, but it's a little bit, it's aggressive and a little bit sketchy to go up there and give Beckner that room to the bottom.
This is that battle you're talking back here. Senesak versus Bell at the moment. As I say that, contact up ahead out of turn 2. Beckner moving his way on through. Kane with the switchback.
perfect crossover there. Beckner got a great run at it too. They made a little contact, not intentional, just a little bit of a bump here and there. Beckner switches him back. They're going to bang doors a little bit again, but Kane had a perfect crossover. I think Beckner's going to cover it this time. You can see him tight to that guardrail, but Kane still was able to pull it off.
Fantastic fight for the lead. This is, again, the fight for pole position, essentially, for the main race. That's why they're fighting so hard. Beckner, a little bit of a hip check, trying to see if he can get Dalton Kane, that car, upset and find a way on through. He's running out of laps, 2 to go at the line.
Dalton Kane didn't really give him room to stay down there without hitting that guardrail, and I think Beckner ended up hitting both, but that might give Dalton Kane the positioning he needs to keep Beckner behind him. As you can see, Beckner moving a groove higher than the 7. Now the 7 went back to the bottom.
Back to the bottom, white flag in the air. 2 more shots for Beckner to really make a move here through 1 and 2, trying to do the setup. Gets a little bit wide to the outside of the 7. Does he dive down low? Does he move him out of the way? He will not be able to do so. Dalton Kane charging out of turn 4. It was hard fought, but Kane will take the win. Travis Beckner in second. Carter Coop and Ryan Swan had a bit of a spat for third. It'll be Coop, Swan, then Jacob Bell, Senizak, and Joseph Swan rounding out your order.
A really good heat. We saw that groove maybe move up a little bit, but Kane, I think, wanted to test that middle line to see how much he could get away with, but Beckner is definitely faster with that bottom line. I don't think it really ended up moving up too much. The bottom was still working pretty well. Eventually, Kane came back down the racetrack, but that was close. He almost gave it away, but Beckner tried to maybe force it a little bit out of turn 2, and Dalton Kane shut the door a little bit. They just came together. Not intentional, but good racing.
Some really good stuff here already. This track's looking to be putting on a show, and it's only 1 heat in. Still got 2 more heats to go and the main event later on. But taking a look at our lineup for heat number 2, it'll be Jacob Cannon starting on pole for this heat, lined up in the 93. The next to him, Casey Borgmeyer. This is probably one of the best starting positions he's had for one of these heats, up in second place in the 101. Ryan Zaboli lined up behind them in row number 2, in third in the 10. Next to him, Ed Robertson, the 64 car, lined up in 4th. Back in 5th is going to be the 5 of Connor Hughes. Next to him, Brent Picari lined up in the 35. And actually, I do now see Brad Slaughter on the timing screen, but I don't see him. I don't think he's in the server like you mentioned. So 6 cars ready to go here for Heat 2.
He did join the session. We'll see if he races the main, but he hasn't joined this heat. So 6 drivers right now as Slaughter races. He'll be at the back, but I am interested to see if Jacob Cannon gets challenged by Borgmeyer, Zabo and Borgmeyer. They're both usually pretty fast, but Jacob Cannon is really as fast as his practice and qualifying times show. I'm not sure how much they'll have for the 93.
We'll see. He might be able to surprise us, or we could see Cannon fly off and away, but this is a really good start for him in this series. Already a solid time, qualified second on pace alone, and will be starting on pole for this heat. We'll see if he can carry it on through. As we work through, 1 more pace lap for these drivers, and off and away they will go. Casey Borgmeyer in second, Ryan Zabot in third. That'll be a decent battle. Should Cannon take off, but we'll see. Maybe Casey can surprise us. Maybe Cannon will surprise us. We'll see. Pace truck's in. Field and control of the 93, waiting to pass the wall right there. And off and away you'll go. We're green here for heat number 2.
And Borgmeyer was not ready, but Zabo was. They're going to be side by side for second. Zabo tried to slide up, but he might have just enough on the inside to take second, and he does. Connor Hughes got to the 4th position. Robertson and Punkari at the rear.
Wasting no time for the 10 to move up to second place. Will immediately take the spot, take point on the 93. Back and behind, Connor Hughes moves up 1 spot ahead of Ed Robertson. He tries to get back on him, but no dice at the moment.
Here I see Jacob Cannon holding a pretty wheel, getting much better runs on the exits of the corner than the drivers behind him. That's where he's making up his time. He might lose a little on entry, but he's had much better exits. That time Zabo had a pretty good 1 and 2.
Right on board with Brent Punkari here, wheeling it on the outside. One of the earliest drivers seen go to the outside. We typically see everyone bottom feed for the moment at the start and then slowly move up the track as Ryan Zabo and now Connor Hughes actually going up on the top side, but Zabo up ahead, making some dives to the inside, making contact to the inside of the 93.
He's been diving a little deep, but he never really got the nose pointed there. I don't think he meant to do that. He got a little right front damage out of it, though, but no harm, no foul, at least for the battle.
Trying to see if he can find some sort of purchase point on the 93. Getting has Jacob Cannon, who's been sticking glue to that inside line. Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be moving him out of the way anytime soon.
Zabo is definitely keeping decent pace. He's keeping him honest right now, and a lot of that is because he's diving a lot deeper into these corners, but his exits for how hard he's going into these corners are not terrible.
Solid job done with Jacob Cannon up there, calm in the lead. And he looks like he's in his wheelhouse at the moment.
Zabo got under him for a moment there, though. I mean, he's definitely keeping him honest, but you're already seeing Cannon move up kind of the very middle of the racetrack at both ends now.
Taking a slightly more defensive line, Zabo trying to have one more shot, makes a look to the inside, not able to get the drive off the corner. Just one car length behind, but it won't be enough. Jacob Cannon takes the win. Zabo, Borgmeyer, Hughes, and Robertson, Brent Pincari rounding out the field for Heat 2.
Perry really was trying to get that outside line moving. Just wasn't really quite there. Was having to kick the car sideways a little bit too much, but we might see that once we get 25 laps in the main event in, but just not there quite yet. But I'm happy with Zabo's pace. He had really good speed there to be able to keep up.
He did have some really surprising pace, just unfortunate, not able to get a really good angle or get a good chance to make a move on Cannon, who was keeping a very solid defensive line, didn't really have any holes to allow Zabo to get through. He tried to push his way on through, but it wasn't quite enough. Field lineup already for heat number 3. Let's go down and look through the lineup for this heat. Jaden Freiberger, not surprising, in the 24, leading them off on pole position for this heat. Next to him, Jordan Navarro in the 96, a decent time for him, puts him second place. Then in third, Jordan Martin, the driver that always sneaks in there towards the end. He's lined up in third in the number 17. Next to him, Casey Lakatos, the number 13, lineup in fourth place. Chris Seidenfein lineup in the number 99 in fifth place. And rounding out our field of 6, Christian Bauer in the 56 car.
See what the bar can do. Seidenfaden has a heat race EOL, but he was 5th anyway, so not too big of a change. He just has to start behind a bar, and that's a big difference. But I would like to see what Jordan Martin can do from 3rd.
We'll see if he's able to do anything from 3rd. Can get some sort of move done on Freiberger. And really the main thing is, can Jordan Navarro get a decent start? It is really hard with how tight the turn is for that driver on the outside to get a good run. But we'll see here as he watches the start, wait to see where the 24 goes. There he goes, off and away, and it's pretty much side by side for second place. Green flag in the air.
Not a great start for Navarro, but he had just enough to get in front of Jordan Martin in 1, but drove it in too hard. Jordan Martin's right there. DeBoer hit the wall in 2, but kept it going as Jordan Martin, a good enough start that almost forced Navarro out of the group, but couldn't quite get it.
Had a very poor run out of turn 4 that allowed Navarro to get a better run on the outside, so he immediately moves up to second place. Martin still bottom feeding, might have to move to the top, but he's still alongside the 96. He's not clear.
No, just not quite able to get the run out of the corner that he needs on the bottom. That top side is at a point where you can really defend up there now, and that seems to be the faster line, but it does look a little slick up on entry around the outside right there. Those cars are going to slide a little bit too much on entry to the point where that bottom is probably still going to be pretty good if you just have to shallow up your entry a little bit. As Freiberger's doing a really good job of just having a steady entry. He is diving maybe a little lower than those other drivers behind him right now.
Looks like he's setting his own pace at the moment. Jordan Navarro in second, Jordan Martin in third. Then Licata, Seidenfeld, and DeBoer is 4th, 5th, and 6th as we're halfway through. And did Freiberger hit the wall?
He tapped it a little bit. I think he wanted to test the high line once he got some extra space, but he did tap it with the right rear there for sure.
Yeah, I want to be careful. Don't want to throw it all the way now in a heat race, because you go from the starting up in 3rd all the way to the back part of the grid. That'll be a long 50 laps to work up, so want to be a little bit careful here.
Cottis might have, I don't know if he got a tap from Seidenfeld or just lost on his own, but he definitely got sideways. 99 gets the 4th spot.
Taking a look at what happened to the 13. Not sure it was here. Oh, almost sent himself around there.
Yeah, that was on him. Navarro almost hit the wall out of turn 4 last time by. Looks like he's going to be able to keep it in that 2nd spot.
Looking at Jaden Freiberger in a league of his own at the moment, nearly a second ahead of Jordan Navarro. He comes sliding out of turn 4, and an easy win for heat number 3 for Freiberger. Then Navarro, Martin, Seidenfeld, DeBoer, and Casey Lakatos rounding out the order.
Line for Seidenfeld having EO well. It's not much, but that'll definitely get him some rows for the main event going 6th to 4th.
Yeah, solid job for him. One of the biggest movers, really accounting for the EOL, one of the biggest movers in this race. And as the heats end up, we got the warm-up ready to go. Lights turn on at Lincoln Speedway here, and these drivers getting ready to get some warm-up in for the main event here. 50 laps coming up in just a little while.
Be pretty fun. We'll get this track a little bit more worn in this time. Everyone's going to get on track in a nice orderly single file line.
You see, not a lot of room on this racetrack. It's, I want to say 3/8 of a mile, if I'm not mistaken.
3/8 of a mile. Yeah, it's pretty much that, yes.
Doing some quick maths. I think it's like
0.38.
0.38, yeah.
So yeah, 3/8.
So someone can fact check me on that.
0.375 is so
close enough.
Pretty much right there.
Take a look here. Carter Coop here has got a drive camera on for us. Ooh, as someone goes flying and flipping on the back straightaway. There's some little bit of wreck avoidance there.
Bring out the backups.
Yeah, bring out the backups, get them ready to go. So Carter Coop, one of our onboards for tonight. Of course, we saw earlier with Jacob Cannon in the 93 machine, another one of our onboards. And as always, Brent Pancari is another driver to ride on board with, and he's hacking at that wheel. That's gonna be tiring.
Yeah, it is gonna be tiring. I don't know if that's a direct. Oh, that's not gonna. Well, it did work, but he didn't really get the car kicked sideways there. He is really having to wheel that thing, trying to run that higher side. We saw him in his heat. He had it kicked out more sideways than anyone, but he's making it work just enough, I suppose. Beckner, you know, a little bit more controlled and obviously a little bit more speed, as Carey still looking at him struggling a little bit, but you already see Beckner trying to work that higher side in, kind of entering high, exiting low in 1 and 2 that time. We'll see if that ends up being a good line in that set of corners, but really just keeping it on the outside part of the racetrack through 3 and 4.
Here's 24, Jaden Freiberger, and it seems like almost every week it's been the storyline of when is he finally going to break through and get a win. He's arguably been due many times for one, and his last couple races, if I'm not mistaken, have been fairly well. Just trying to double check that on the standing sheet. But he has been performing a little bit better in the last couple races than he has previously. The consistency usually has been the issue, but last couple of weeks he's finished 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th in the last 4 races, so he's been very consistent in the top 5.
Yeah, very consistent, always has pretty good speed. We'll see if we can compete with Beckner and maybe Cannon. I'm pretty excited to see what he can do. Like you said, he's just usually up there and just able to keep his nose clean. Sometimes you can't really do anything about outside factors, but he usually does a good job trying to limit what those outside factors do to his race.
Take a look also at Dalton Kane, also another quick driver, and will be starting on pole for this race. And I believe he does he know have a EOL, or is he all set to go?
I don't believe he has anything. I'll try to make sure of that, but didn't see anything pre-race about it as we end our warm-up. So track's nice and worn in, and we'll see what type of race we get.
It's Gettysburg 50 here in just a moment's time. Round number 10 of this championship, round number 10 of 24. We've still not reached the halfway point yet. Effectively, we'll be doing so in just 2 weeks' time at the end of May. We'll be wrapping things up before the summer break, a short little break, and then heading back to racing in July. So for the second half of the season. So this series is far, far from over. Travis Beckner's got a comfortable lead at the top of the standings, but may not last for long.
We'll just have to wait and see what he can do in this Gettysburg 50. That points lead has grown since we haven't seen Tyler Gary in a little while. It's 48 points over Jordan Martin. Gary's, if he ever came back, he's still only 68 points back. And Freiberger, who we were talking about, 72 points back. Everyone else is triple digits and more. Borgmeyer, Senesac, Clayton Johnson, who's not here again, Jacob York, Jacob Bell, and Carter Coop are the top 10 in points.
Yeah, we put a bounty on Tyler Gary. I think they're going to need to put up a missing person sign for Tyler Gary if they can't find out where he is. It's kind of missing him out because Travis Beckner, in his absence, Travis Beckner has been getting as many points as he can because he's been essentially with 3 wins in a row, looking to make it 4 in a row, but has some competition as he'll be rolling off in 4th lineup for this main event. Of course, Dalton Kane starting on pole. Then Jacob Cannon starting in 2nd place, Freiberger 3rd, Beckner 4th, and Ryan Zabot in 5th. That is a very solid top 5. And Brad Slaughter has joined us here in this heat. I shouldn't say in this heat, in the feature. Missed out on the heat, so he'll be starting from the back of the order in 20th position.
See what he can do. He has an end-of-line penalty for whatever reason, but we will see if he can make his way up through the field. He's kind of struggled in the starts that he has made.
It's going to be a long night for him to work from the back to the front. We'll see if he can get it done. Very cool in the air, very cool on the track. As we get to see these drivers get out here and get to business here in just a short time. The pace truck is off and away. Field and control of Dalton Kane as he works his way around, looking to see what he can do. Can the new driver to the field, the 93 Jacob Cannon, bring some surprises? We'll see as they're off and away. And we are green here at Lincoln Speedway. Of lines of drivers going high, drivers going low, and a slide job from Cannon on Freiberger trying to keep him at bay.
Got crashing. Carter Coop got turned. Got a lot of drivers with big damage. Ed Robertson, Brad Slaughter, 52, 20, 96. They all got damage out of that. That took out a lot of people.
Oh, and Jordan Navarro, after starting so well and major damage potentially coming his way. We'll take a look and see what brought out that caution.
Thought I saw the 52 go around first. Yeah, that was Navarro who got into him. Then Swan, Robertson took a big chunk of it, and then even more people got into it with the 64 back there. Just tapped him a little too hard. Borkmeyer snuck through. A lot of people didn't.
And then who was it that came to stop? Oh, yeah, right there. Ed Robertson there coming to stop, and DeBoer getting one of the worst things with Casey Lakatos around as well.
Carey's got damage. That got a lot of people. Seidenfaden has damage. That might have been half the field ended up getting damage out of that.
Right on board with Jordan Navarro. And right in behind the 52, and I guess thought he was a little bit more clear up ahead and hit him from behind. And then everyone else getting taps, and I can see the carnage there in behind. Everyone trying to make their way on through that.
Everyone, Jordan Navarro maybe just saying, hey, you need to go a little bit faster. And that's not how you do it. But, got into the corner a little bit faster, maybe throttled up a touch there, and it was just the wrong decision. Not intentional, but definitely a mistake. And Brad Slaughter barely got through that. It's not over.
Yeah, and there was a carnage in the back, so that's how a lot of people ended up getting their damage. So early pace slowdown here, early caution, and immediately back green. Didn't realize you were looking at the caution for that long. They're back green immediately. Perfect timing as Dalton Kane takes the lead. And James Freiberger trying to see if he can break away from Jacob Cannon, who's making a menace here at the top part of the order. Travis Beckner surging on through to the high line.
Really the first one to try that way high line in the top 5. Carter Coop got another tap. Kane had a bad 3 and 4. Freiberger's all over the bumper. Or not really a bumper, but you know what I mean. They're 3 wide for the lead. Freiberger's going to get the short end of the stick, go all the way back to 4th. Here goes Cannon with a big send. They're 3 wide, tight 3 wide out of turn number 4 for the lead, but this is where Cannon might try a slider here.
They're fighting hard. They're fighting tooth and nail for this thing already, and we're only on lap 5. Still side by side. Dalton Kane not giving up the high line, feeling that's his best opportunity at the moment. The thing is, looking at the racetrack, you don't want to be in the middle.
What a great crossover that was. He timed it perfectly, and he's going to have a chance to try to slide him back. A little bit of contact. He chose to just run the bottom of the racetrack. He might not need to slide him, but he's going to come up right in front of him. He chopped him. There was contact that time. Now Freiberger's going to the bottom 3 wide. Beckner's still trying to top. He got top 4 under a blanket right now.
Yeah, riding on board with Ryan Zabo's got the best view of this entire battle. Some contact, some slowdowns here as everyone comes to a stop. Hard hit with the 93.
I think Beckner's all good. Oh, Carter Coop got punted into the outside wall in the aftermath, and caution's out, and he is totaled. He's stuck on the wall.
Oh, boy. It is hard fought up here.
He got... What a shame. Carter Coop got the worst end of that, and he's pretty much totaled. But that was crazy. That started with Dalton Kane getting a little bit of a touch in the middle of 1 and 2 from Cannon, and it set all that off down the back straightaway.
Trying to see if we can get on board. There we go. You can see the destroyed race car of Carter Coop. We'll see what happened to him. And now in and checkup with a destroyed race car. So you see the carnage in the background, a little bit of a checkup. Borgmeyer was trying to slow down and behind Zabot, and just straight into the wall.
Oh, hydraulics as well, for whatever reason. But yeah, that all starts from Dalton Kane getting a little bit of a tap in 3 and 4, and that really starts a checkup. He gets hit a little bit there. Really hurt. And you see the checkup. Borgmeyer just trying to avoid it. He did not, obviously not his intent to do that, but just got a little squirrely trying to hit the brakes. And these brakes aren't normal brakes. It's not going to work that well on dirt. And Ricardo Coupe got the absolute worst end of that. Somehow, those guys in the top 4 didn't get suspension damage. I thought Beckner was done.
I mean, there's quite a few drivers with some damage here. I mean, looking at some of them here, Dalton Kane, he's got some damage. Actually, Travis Beckner looking the best off. Trying to see if we can get a view on Freiberger, as my scoring software is not enjoying the cautions here. But as we get ready to go back to green, some damage to the cars up at front. We'll see if they get any more damage here. Still not even to lap 10. And immediately 93 of Cannon sending it. Beckner on the wall, the inside wall a little bit.
Yeah, I thought he might have gotten a tap, but I think he did from Zabot, but it didn't hurt him too much there as he's trying to recover and try to work the bottom line now. As Dalton Kane, he's got the room that he needs now, but he made a mistake last time that got rid of all that room that he had gained, as Freiberger really missed turn 2 there. He's going to maybe lose 2 for 1.
3 wide for just a second there as Cannon tries to work on through. Freiberger trying to get that run back on the outside. Beckner trying to get third, at least away from one of these two drivers. Oh, moves the 93 out of the way.
Well, that was maybe a cleaner punt, but you don't really want to do that and put some 3 wide again. There's barely any room for it. Now Jacob Cannon's really in the worst spot on entry, but he had a pretty good run on exit. There's still going to be 3 wide, and that's what Dalton Kane wants to see. And Jacob Cannon just forced his way by Freiberger. Now he's got positioning on Beckner.
Yeah, Dalton Kane's loving this. He wants them to battle even more, and it looks like they will battle even more because it doesn't look like anyone can decide who wants to be in second place at the moment.
Carter Coupe out of this race. Don't see many retirements in this series, but that's going to really hurt him in the points. But these guys will not give up second place. They want that track position, and they want to get it before there's any potential cautions. It's actually gotten pretty orderly all the way back before Jordan Martin. He threw a big slider on Jordan Navarro in the turn 3 lap time.
But Freiberger, a big move to the outside, and now trying to stay ahead of Zabot. He's under attack from the number 10. He's now starting to make some moves now that things have cleared up.
Yeah, Zabot tried to make that bottom work, just got into the center a little bit too hard and didn't have the exit he needed. But you can see how worn out the middle of the racetrack is. It really just looks like you're either on the guardrail on the bottom or you're running the guardrail on the top of the racetrack. There almost seems like there's no in between, but 2 distinct lines right now.
Keith Borgmeyer having a really solid run, started in 8th up to 6th, and looking to see if he can break in the top 5. He's got some pace. He's over the back of the 10. He's been kind of waiting in the wings to make a move. David Connor Hughes is a great run for him, up from 11th to 7th.
He's another one trying to rip that higher side. He's moved up 4 positions. He's trying to work over Borgmeyer right now, but Borgmeyer's taking away the outside on entry just enough where he can't really get by him. Tap the wall a little bit there. Meanwhile, it has kind of single filed out at the front. You got Jacob Cannon relatively comfortable over Beckner, although Beckner's still trying to wind up a run back on him, but not quite in too heated of a battle for that. Freiberger, Zabot, and Borgmeyer just got into it. Borgmeyer lost some track position because of that. Connor Hughes is going to get that spot because of that, but to me it looks like Freiberger's struggling a lot because of his front end damage.
Travis Beckner all over the back of Jacob Cannon, trying to see if he can make a move work. He's giving a little taps, a little bumps here and there. And look at him, laser focused, concentrated, trying to find some way around the 93 and move up to second to set his sights on Dalton Kane. I think he just got it right there. A great run out of turn 4.
Yeah, he's a touch faster the last 2 laps than Jacob Cannon. It just seems like Cannon, he could be safe with tires, we know that, but he seems pretty adamant on running the bottom of the racetrack. He's actually adamant running the middle of the racetrack, and it's just not there for pace right now. But Beckner trying to get in front of Dalton Kane if he can, running that top side, and Kane's also being very patient, still running the bottom of the racetrack. That time Jacob Cannon moved up.
Look at Travis Beckner ripping that high line up on the cushion, flooring it. He knows he needs to get back up to Dalton Kane as things start to settle themselves out, and dives down to the bottom by the wall.
And he's trying to make that work too. If he can make both lanes work, he's going to be dangerous, but it just seemed like Dalton Kane took the high side away there and was able to get a pretty good run off of both corners, and he was about a tenth faster last time by than Travis Beckner. He's actually hitting that wall with his right rear in the middle of 1 and 2, like we've seen at so many tracks this season. He might have hit it too hard there. That was a big hit for Dalton Kane, but he's able to keep it straight. All the battling's at the back right now. Borgmeyer trying to recover. He's back to 8th position. Jordan Martin to 7th.
Yeah, we saw Jordan Martin. He's actually gotten around. Casey Borgmeyer is kind of hanging out just a little bit behind them. Now he's starting to make some moves up to the top. We call him, essentially, he's been the closer for this series. He always finds his way into the front near the end of it, really saves his stuff towards the end, waits for drivers to make mistakes and crash out, and he gets the point. So already back up to 7th, looking to see if he can get some sort of move around Connor Hughes and Zabot and put himself back in the top 5.
We reached that point in the race where everyone's really trying to test how hard they can hit the right rear off the wall and get away with it. Dalton Kane's been flirting with it. I'm seeing Freiberg or Connor Hughes both flirting with it. Hughes hit it pretty hard that time, but still kept it straight. You're starting to see less and less drivers trying to work that bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, I saw a flash and a change of position for a brief second, and might see it again here. Jordan Martin gets a move to the inside of Zabot, throws it into turns 1 and 2. Can he get the run off the corner of 2? That depends, really.
That was a great crossover by Zabot. He backed up entry to 1 very hard to get this slider done in 3 and 4. And Martin doesn't really have the momentum to get him back. Great pass by the 10 car.
And since he's still working to the outside of the 10, this battle far from over. And as I say, that looks like it's subsided for now at the very least. And Jacob Bell finding himself up in 8th place, up 5 for him. Then Casey Borgmeyer, Jordan Navarro, and how about Brad Slaughter? He's having a really good race so far.
He's moved up through the field nicely with, I don't know how much practice he had before this session, but he had none in this normal session, so he's had a pretty good drive through the field. He's gotten through about half the field already, and, you know, this is probably the most volatile battle on the racetrack right now, besides maybe the one for about 5th or 6th. But meanwhile, at the front, Travis Beckner is getting there, and he's closed the gap.
He's closed the gap, and here comes Dalton Kane on some lap traffic. That's going to hold him up because that's robbing his line. And here comes Beckner to the inside.
I think he thought DeBoer would get out of his way, but no obligation to do that, especially in dirt racing. Kane's going to throw up a slider. DeBoer, obviously, I don't think he has the speed to cross him over. Now it's going to hurt Beckner. Kane's pretty much going to get back what he lost there.
Yeah, and trying to see if he can make some quick work, but they're coming up. It's on heavy lap traffic. Here comes Chris Seidenfeld now that they're catching up on. It's only going to get worse, especially as they get to the guys that are battling for position, as we start to have a long green flag run here.
It's going to be an issue if Ed Robertson's running the bottom of the racetrack. It's kind of hard to commit when and Seidenfeld's in the wall. He has to avoid him. Beckner almost had his chance. Seidenfeld has big damage to the spoiler. He's going to be really in the way here, maybe for Jacob Cannon as well, but now Seidenfeld's really going to start dropping here, as I think after Ed Robertson, Kane has some space. Oh, big hit.
That is a decent hit to the wall. And there's a spoiler, I think, for Chris Seidenfeld. Oh, and going to hit the wall again. Beckner is really pushing hard here.
He's trying. He's got to get by Ed Robertson now. Kane made quick work of the 64, actually, and Kane, I think, his advantage has grown through this lap traffic, but it's not over yet. He's going to catch that battle for about 14th. I mean, he got, never mind that, caution is out, and it is for Connor Hughes.
We saw him running so well, and he reverses it, get back going. Looks like that car is not terribly damaged. Might have had a little tapping around. Question is, who's the one that caused him to go around, if anyone?
Money's on Zabot or Martin.
Yeah, see here, I might have gone a little bit too far back up there, right there, and there was the tap, just a little contact with Martin, and around he went, and nothing more you can do at that point.
Yeah, Martin tried to throw it in there, definitely tapped him a little bit, and then decided might as well finish the job, but just drove it in a little bit hard there. But no harm, no foul, except for obviously Connor Hughes' track position, which he gained. He was up to 6th position from 11th before that, so he did that in, 34 laps? Now he has to try to do that in about 15 laps, as we'll see if we're at single file restarts. We're going to restart with 16 laps to go. And Beckner, I think, looked faster as the run went on, and Jacob Cannon maybe not as fast as we thought he'd be, but solidly in 3rd place. I mean, those 3 really pulled away.
You take a look at Beckner and Jacob Cannon here. Get a little chance to rest here, regroup, re-strategize. I mean, I don't know what you're really going to do. You can see these drivers looking at the racetrack right now, just how much of a mess it is at the moment in the middle of these corners. You're basically going to be way up by the wall or way down low by the other wall, really. So you got to find where the grip is and make a charge, make it count. It's going to get dirty here if it hasn't already. Yeah. Green flag back in the air. Dalton Kane and Beckner side by side at the line.
Beckner called his bluff. I mean, he timed it absolutely perfectly, but here comes Kane trying to keep the lead with a slide job. Beckner got a good run out of turn number 2 to try to slide him back into turn number 3.
Another slide job. Dalton King gonna have to try to turn it down low here off of turn 4. Will take the lead for a second and will clear the 27 with a hard slide job into turn 1.
That was perfect by Beckner. He almost timed it wrong, but he ended up timing it right. He doesn't really have the positioning he needs right here, but he's got to do the slide job. He has no other option, but Kane has enough grip on exit to get the a little bit more contact there. Kane's going to try to rip the bottom. He almost hit the inside wall. He kind of forced himself into sliding up, but that time he got clear of the 27, and here comes Cannon.
Cannon sees the chance to make a move. Will stick to the bottom while they fight it out up on the top side, just trying to find wherever there's any sort of grip left on this racetrack.
Here we go, big slide job from Beckner. He threw it in from way back that time, but he got pretty good grip out of the corner. But Dalton Kane should have enough to do it right back to him. Beckner really backed up 3 to get a good exit out of 4, and he has that run to do it yet again.
Yeah, Beckner's just hoping for a grip that just really isn't there. He's just trying to slide up in front and park the bus in the middle of the corner. 3 wide again off the corner, 93 to the inside, loses that purchase point. Dalton Kane sends it in the corner, and he's going to stop mid and on the exit. 3 wide again, once more Beckner to the inside.
Oh, Kane tried to defend it. Beckner wasn't ready for it, and he put Dalton Kane in the wall. And Kane has pretty big damage to that spoiler.
And it's hanging on, and it looks like it's falling off, so that thing's gone. Say goodbye to the rear end grip to that thing, and you really need it.
I mean, that's his race done, basically, if he doesn't have that. But it's a risky kind of take there as Cannon almost got into Beckner. He tried to, kind of pinch Beckner to the bottom of the racetrack, and Beckner's probably not prepared for that. I mean, that's a split-second decision. Beckner goes in there like he's going to give him room. He doesn't. That's almost always going to happen.
Inside 10 laps to go here, looking at Jaden Freiberger trying to get past Ryan Zabot, who's really putting up a fight here towards the end of this race. He's really showing that he's not just settling for a top 5, he wants a top 3 and trying to fight the 24 for it.
Yeah, Beckner not getting away quite yet. Cannon really trying to fire it into these corners and keep them honest, as everyone has their right rear on the wall right now. Freiberger, maybe the Lone Ranger on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get that 3rd position away while Dalton Kane just struggles back towards the rear of the field. But, that battle for the lead not going to go away quite as easily.
And here's Jordan Martin, Dalton Kane, and then meanwhile for the leaders, let Cannon take the lead for just a brief second on my scoring with the way they're going in these corners. The 93 sending it, almost pushing the 27 in the wall.
Caution is out. It is Brett Pancari.
Oh, no, and he's up in the wall. What happened to Pancari?
Thing was totaled in the wall.
He had some assistance here. Got into the wall with the 1, and nope, just looped it around, it seemed. I think he always put it in the wall, trying to stay out of the way.
It's almost like the rear of the car got stuck on top of the wall and spun him around. That's kind of what it looked like. That was weird.
Running up from on top, and oh yeah, I can see what you mean. You can kind of see it from that point of view. See, I got another view of the wall.
This was Tony Hawk, pro skater. I think that would have been much. He would have got points for that.
That's an interesting one. Never really seen that, but I guess with how much dirt has been pushed to the outside of the track, and the wall's not terribly high around here. Get the rear part of the fenders up on it, and around you go. That's I've never seen that before. Yeah,
I haven't either, but that was definitely what happened. It's just so much, that wall is so small already. You get the dirt on it, and you get the rear in a bad spot. I mean, you're going to struggle, so that's unfortunate what happened to him, but he was having an okay run, I suppose. This was a pretty good break for Dalton Kane, I suppose. Looks like he's going to decide to go to the rear and put that spoiler back on. That's what he's decided to do.
Yeah, I don't think he would survive the restart with the way things are going to look. But here comes Travis Beckner bringing them back to the line. Restart getting ready to go. Is it delayed?
got delayed. Yeah,
Okay.
so they got to find the pace truck.
I was waiting for them to go, and they just didn't go. Where I was expecting Beckner to go off it, so slight delay to the restart here. But Beckner, then Cannon in second place, Zabo third, Jordan Freiberger in fourth, Jade Freiberger in fourth, sorry, and then Jordan Martin in fifth.
Kind of a weird restart.
I think they're gonna go. There they go. Finally for the actual restart.
Oh.
Side by side with a 93, gets a move to the inside, tries to get a move to the inside, throws it into the corner. Beckner up on top of the wall, trying to get a run off turn two.
Cannon's just not really committing to a full slide job. He's just not. Now he is. I said that. I think he's going to, but then he just doesn't. He gives Beckner just enough room to get out of the corner as Connor Hughes is fun again.
Connor Hughes around with a 93 contact with the 27
oh, man.
at the end, trying to get slowed down as Connor Hughes went around in the back.
You wouldn't, if it didn't flash up on their screen, they probably would have wrecked each other. So.
Too hard they're fighting there. Up into contact with the 77 of Jacob Bell, slid in the middle of the track. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, just unfortunate how this has kind of gone downhill for Hughes, though. I mean, he had a good run going. He's going to be probably back in 14th now after spinning again. He was 10th the last time he crossed, though, so he was trying to recover. But it's going to be a lot more difficult now at this point. Dalton Kane is up to 13th with that damaged rear end. He got the spoiler back on it, but it almost looks like, the wings they had on those Car of Tomorrows in the Cup Series with how angled it is.
Yeah. The way it's hanging on for dear life, and I think he's going to hope it just hangs on here to recover some sort of points here. Going to take a hit, probably a little bit annoyed with the 27, the way things went.
Yep.
But Beckner, Cannon, Zabo, Martin, Jaden Freiberg, and actually Jordan Martin ended up getting a move on the 24.
No surprise.
Always finds his way up here. See if he can get one more spot. He'll get the top three. As we get ready for the restart here, Jacob Cannon, we saw a really good restart last time around. We'll see if he can match that here with Beckner.
Yeah, he matched him very well last time. I think Beckner's got to try something different, and he did. He went maybe a touch earlier, way early in 3, and he got good enough exit out of 4 to get a decent gap over Jacob Cannon.
Now if they go once more, a big send from the 93. Both of them just a little bit of a tap into the wall. Beckner's got to be very careful the way he's sending it here these last couple laps. There's another send for the 93. Oh, and almost slides up into the 27.
If he keeps doing that, he's going to put Beckner in the wall if he's not careful, and he lost a lot of ground that time doing it.
Oh, he's going to go up again, and it's opening the door for Ryan Zabo to get second place here.
Oh, there's contact in the back. Bryce Senesak's in the wall. We're going to keep it green for now. Coming to 3 laps to go. Zabo's got the second, and he's crossed the line. So if the yellow comes out, he's got the spot, and Senesak might get it off track. But we're still green.
Still green for now. Zabo, Jacob Cannon here coming to 2 laps to go this time at the line. Cannon trying to make up some sort of grip, and you see there's Bryce Senesak's tire in the middle of turn 4. Still green, as I think he's able to get off the racing surface. Beckner in the lead. Can Zabo mount anything here in the last lap and a half?
Look at what Zabo's doing. He's mounting a charge, trying to run the bottom of the racetrack on the straightaway just to get that little extra grip, but does he have the time to even make a move?
Here we go, white flag in the air. Travis Beckner, Ryan on the top, Ryan Zabo on the bottom for Beckner. They try to see if anyone else can get it done, make a charge, make him work for it. They made him work for it tonight. 4 in a row for the 27 in this season. Ryan Zabo in second place with a valiant charge at the end. Jacob Cannon for a first start, a very good showing, will finish in 3rd.
There was a pile on the final lap with some drivers in that. I didn't see, looked like Ed Robertson, Ed Robertson, Joseph Swan, Hughes, DeBoer. There was a 5-car pileup in 1 and 2. Or actually, it was in 3 and 4. But something between Hughes and Swan.
This is on the white flag lap, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that was a white flag. Maybe even coming to the checkered, but
I thought he was the start of that.
Start.
Oh, there we go.
Like Hughes and Swan, maybe.
See Casey, Lacadas, and Navarro. There's Kane. Oh, he gets a checkup and then just check up, and then a parking garage there in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, that was a weird one for sure. Kind of stack up that we usually see maybe at a track with big straightaways, but no stack ups for Travis Beckner. He got the lead at the right time, got by Dalton Kane, used use some Travis Beckner muscle, and he's got another victory. And I think we need a bounty at this point.
I'm actually surprised there wasn't a bounty for this race. I was kind of expecting it for this race, but solid run there for Beckner. 4 in a row for him. Ryan DeBell, a valiant charge up to second place. We'll get a chance to talk to him. Jacob Cannon as well. Got a chance to talk to him as well in his debut for the series. A very solid showing for the 93. Jordan Martin coming in once again at the very end of things, and will get a 4th place finish. Aiden Figer pushed back to 5th. Solid run for the 24-hour race long. Jacob Bell, a really good finish, somehow muscled through the smoke. Up to 6th for him. Ryan Swan, Casey Lacatas, Jordan Navarro, and Dalton Kane. He's going to be disappointed after starting on pole, finishing back in 10th.
But was at least able to recover for a top 10. But yeah, Dalton Kane, maybe we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll see it in the chat. He might be frustrated with Beckner. I think a little bit will go on himself, though, for kind of putting himself in that position, trying to pinch, and Beckner wasn't ready for it. Kind of a racing deal in my eyes. But like I said, at the least, he got into the top 10. Joseph Swan, Connor Hughes, 11th and 12th. Good run for Swan. He had a rough race last week. And then a lot of attrition near the end of that race. Robertson, DeBoer, Senesac, Borgmeyer 16th. He ran better than that. Then Pancari, Slaughter, Seidenpad, and Carter Coop. Really unfortunate for him. He came into this week 10th in points, and he's likely going to drop a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that really good run in the middle of the race. We had a really good green flag and then a couple cautions there at the end to slow things down, but also made it a lot more intense. We saw the leaders give it everything they got. And speaking of the leaders, we'll get a chance to talk to the first. Then we'll talk to our 3rd place finisher, Jacob Cannon. Jacob, I got to say, for a debut race, what a showing. A fantastic job there out on the racetrack. We saw you give it your all to try to get around Travis Beckner, but it wasn't quite enough. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, well, first, I just want to start off by saying everybody on the card, giving out my sponsors a shout out. Jewel C Speed Shop, NJB Designs, Victory Fuel, Hoosier Racing Tires, Sweet Victory Apparel, David Cannon's Lawn Care Service. But anyway, yeah, the car was running pretty good there, battling for second with Travis and them. Later on down the road, right there, when about 40 to lap 41, the tires started to kind of fall off, and I was having to battle the car the best I could after that.
Yeah, we saw you sliding it in there with Beckner side by side. Were you kind of hoping you can maybe give him a little bit of a tap to slow him down or get some sort of slide job done on him? Because we saw you try that so many times that it just wasn't enough.
I was looking to get to the inside of him. I was willing to rough him up, but not just intentionally put him in the wall. I don't like doing that to my competitors, and that's just how I race. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be, but I'm not going to go out there and intentionally wreck somebody for a win.
Well, Jacob, very, very solid run at the top of the order. You definitely kept us entertained for all of us watching here. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish.
Appreciate that.
All right, with that, we'll be moving on to our 2nd place finisher. We'll be talking to Ryan Zabo. I don't think we've gotten a chance to talk to Ryan so far this season. Am I correct with that?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right,
yes, sir, Ryan. Oh, that's right.
Well, glad we finally get a chance to talk to you. We saw you just sneak your way there at the end. I think we were riding on board with you earlier on because we saw the entire top four going at it, and we just saw you sitting in behind. So what was the game plan for you this race? Just kind of wait for everything to settle down?
Well, I could gain a little bit on the bottom at a 2 right there, and just sort of biding my time. They were racing pretty close, and I mean, really wasn't anywhere to go. So I was just sort of just riding until I could I could gain on some people, get beside them off of 2 there, and had to slide them going into 3. But it was a fun race. I think that's the first time I've raced that track, but it was interesting little track. The bottom seemed to stay there the whole race, just about.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Where do you feel like was the better lane for you, top side or the bottom side? Because we saw quite a few drivers switch between both of them as well.
Yeah, well, the bottom of 1 and 2, there was a little bit of brown coming out of 2, and I could get a little traction. I could throttle up a little sooner than them boys on the top. But the bottom of 3 and 4 went away probably midway through the race, and you could slide it like the slider line to the top right there and get some traction coming off, and then get back to the bottom going into 1 and 2 and be okay. But it was a technical track there for sure.
Yeah, definitely a technical track and a very, very solid result going your way. So congratulations on your 2nd place finisher, and thanks for talking to us.
Well, thanks so much. Y'all have a good night.
You too. And moving on, last but certainly not least, for the fourth time in a row, you're going to be talking to us up in the booth, Travis. It was a hard-fought one here. They kept you honest all night long. Tell us how you managed to pull it off.
I mean, top came in for me and put it up there, and we took off. I don't know which restart it was, but I nailed that one restart with Dalton Kane, and didn't mean to put him in the wall or anything into turn one that one time around. Wasn't expecting him to protect the slider. That's 100% on me. Did not mean to do that. But I tell you what, I need to do more homework again because, like you said, these guys kept me honest all night long.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because we saw you were trying the top side, we saw you trying the bottom side. I think towards the end of things, it really looked like you were very comfortable up on the top. You were basically riding that wall up on the top side.
Yep. Yeah, I found out where I needed to put the right rear on the wall when I need to tap it, and just was able to carry my momentum all the way around the corner and get some good runs. Jacob scared me a few times there with the sliders. Definitely had me like, oh my god! But especially in 3 and 4, I don't know what lap it was, but it was on the final restart, I think it was. And yeah, that was definitely a little nerve-wracking there at the end.
All right, well, Travis, solid job for you. Win number 4 in a row for you. Congratulations.
Yep. Before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors: Hendrick County Motorsports Park, Wilson Race Cars. Y'all taking the time out of your day to come broadcast this. Best broadcast in iRacing, plain and simple. I will say it week in and week out till I'm blue in the face or 6 feet under. Before I get yelled at, thank you, Grandma Vicky and Granddad Dave. Thank you, Jeff, again for watching. Everybody that came out and watched the race. Everybody that raced tonight. My dad. And you know what? We're gonna give Chick-fil-A a shout out. Thank you, Dad, for getting me Chick-fil-A tonight.
Told you to get the product placement in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say we saw you sipping on it in the heat, and I gotta say, might have helped tonight, give you a little bit more fuel there. I'm sure you're definitely tired after that one. Thanks for talking to us, Travis.
Still got some chicken nuggets left over, so we're good to go after the race.
Chicken nuggets and victory, and gotta love it. Thanks for talking to us, Travis.
Thank you.
Like Brendan Queen, maybe he'll go to Waffle House.
We'll see what he's got planned, but that's going to be wrapping up things here from the Gettysburg 50 here at Lincoln Speedway. Some fantastic racing, as we see once again in the series. These guys really managed to put on a show for us week in, week out, and I had a feeling this was going to be a particularly good one, and boy, did it not disappoint. We saw 3 wide on several occasions going into these corners.
Yeah, really early on as well, we saw a lot of 3-wide action, and that should make it pretty fun in the coming weeks. In the next 2 weeks, really, where we have our last 2 races before our big summer break. It's going to be interesting to see if we get that type of racing. But I will say right now, for the admins that will be listening, Travis Beckner will need a bounty. I mean, he's got 4 in a row at this point. There ain't no reason not to have it. Tyler Gary had it after 3. I thought Beckner would have it after 3, but apparently it took 4 for Beckner. We got a stretch there of Kane, Johnson, and Beckner, 3 different winners, 3 races. But then Beckner's turned it back on. Port Royal, Williams Grove, Lincoln. He's got it going on right now, going into I-55, Lucas Oil. He definitely needs a bounty, but it's like we said, it's not that he's running away with these races. He's just doing enough to win because he's got some drivers like Dalton Kane. Freiberger's up there. Zabot had a great run. Jordan Martin's always getting top 5s, and obviously Dalton Kane and Jacob Cannon very fast as well. So this is a fun stretch right now of racing.
And the fun stretch of racing will continue. Next race is going to be at Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. That'll be in 1 week's time. And then after that, another race before we wrap things up for a mid-season break. That'll be the next Crown Jewel event. That'll be Lucas Oil Speedway, 100-lapper there on May 28th. But for now, I'll be wrapping things up here from SimTV. My name is Finney DeCuna here with Connor Horn for the VDRA Late Model Series, and I'll be wrapping things up from Lincoln Speedway. Thank you so much for watching.